Dear students, in the previous class, I have completed about chapter 4, which is documentation in the pharmaceutical industry. Today, I will talk about chapter 5, that is manufacturing operations and controls. In particularly the sterile products, the production. So let us look into the contents. This introduction, objectives, GMP requirements, premises, equipment, sanitation, personal, manufacturing operations, processing, sterilization, then after sterilization, quality control, finishing of products. There are some 13 contents are there. So let us talk each one, discuss about each one. Then what is this production control? Production control, it is defined as a systematic planning, coordinating, and directing of all manufacturing activities and influences to ensure having goods made on time with adequate quality and at reasonable cost. Repeat, it is defined as systematic planning should be there, coordination should be there, and directing of all manufacturing activities and influences in order to ensure the whatever the goods or products made which is on time with the good quality and at reasonable cost. The manufacturing objective uh, of medicinal drug or a pharmaceuticals or other healthcare products lies in ensuring the safety, well-being, and protection of the. The sterility is defined as the state of complete absence of the living organism. That is called, then only it is called as sterile sterility. Then that is the reason we are talking about the sterile products. It should be complete. There should not be any living organism absence. Then sterile drugs. So they must be prepared and sterilized under conditions aim at such result that in 1 million units there will be no more than one living microorganism. Okay. Then the sterile pharmaceutical products. So what are the sterile pharmaceutical products include? That is the exclusively the parental products, that is IV and IM injectables, even ophthalmic preparations, that is eye drops, ointments, eye ointments, and then non-injectable preparations such as the surgical catguts, dust powders, surgical dressings, etc. So these are the few things in sterile pharmaceuticals they include. That means major is parental, that too IV and IM injectables, and then ophthalmic preparations, that is eye drops, eye ointments, and non-injectable preparations. We know that the catguts, testing powders, surgical dressings, etc. Then personals. Sterile products manufacturing area requires. What does it require? It requires always a qualified person with appropriate training. He should have the training in that particular area, in the sterile products manufacturing area. Then adequate premises should be there. Suitable production equipment should be there, and it is designed for easy cleaning as well as the sterilization. In such a way, those uh, production area should be there. Production equipment. Then validated procedures for all critical production steps. Adequate precautions to minimize the uh, bioburden prior to the sterilization, that should also be there. And then the environmental monitoring was very important, and in-process testing procedures also during the production process. What are major objectives of the sterile products? Now to review the basic GMP requirements in the manufacture of all sterile pharmaceutical products. minimum GMP requirements. Then to review air classifications for activities which are related to the manufacture of the sterile products. Then to review the different types of sterilization methods, and then to review quality aspects in the manufacture and control of the sterile products. GMP requirements for sterile products manufacture includes what are the GMP requirements for manufacturing the sterile products? That is the specific points related to minimizing risk of contamination. That is microbes, one, particulate matter, then pyrogens. That is the major things. Then production areas should be in clean areas, and appropriate standards of cleanliness should be maintained. And then there should be a supply of very filtered air, and there should be airlocks for entry and exit, and for home, that is for persons or even equipments or even for materials. Then separate areas for operation, that is component preparations, that example is continuous process, product preparation, filling, sterilization. These are the minimum GMP requirements for the manufacture of the sterile products. Premises. Premises should be number one, let us say clean rooms. Clean room may be defined as follows. It's an enclosed space with quantitatively specified control. What? Particles, temperature, pressure, humidity. Okay. This are the small. I am showing the images or figures or the photos. Clean room should be constructed with non-porous surfaces which are easy to clean and maintain the controlled access via airlocks and operated in accordance with procedures designated designed to keep contamination below a defined low level. Okay. And there are three classes of US federal standards, that is 209 class, clean room, sorry, which are particularly relevant to sterile products manufacture. So let us look at the class size and particles. Class 100 size more than 0.5 micron, that is 100, and the particle 0, class 10,000, class 100,000, etc. In clean areas, all exposed surfaces uh, should be smooth, surface and unbroken. Okay, in clean areas. Then minimize shedding and accumulation. What? Microorganisms, particles. And permit cleaning and disinfection. No uncleanable recesses or ledges or shelves, cupboards, or equipment. And even if you take the false ceiling, they should also be sealed properly. And there should be a proper installation of the pipes and ducts wherever required, and no recesses and no unsealed opening should be there. And even the sinks and drains should be avoided and included in gradient B areas. Okay, that is the clean room. And then changing rooms, very very important. Changing rooms, they are all designed as airlocks, and there should be effective flushing with filtered air, and there should be separate rooms for entry and exit, hand washing facilities, interlocking system for doors, visual or audible warning systems, then use filtered air supply to maintain the pressure cascade, and pressure differential approximately 10 to 15 pascals. So in addition, premises of product manufacturing, it also consists of an air supply filter through high efficacy particulate air filters, a positive filter, and whether regardless of whether flow is laminar or non-laminar, that should also be taken care. And then a system should be there for monitoring the environmental conditions, not only for that, for cleaning and disinfecting the room, even the equipment, not to have the aseptic conditions, and also maintaining any equipment which are used to control aseptic conditions, And equipment should be adequate control over air pressures, microorganisms, dust, humidity, and temperature shall be used when appropriate. The air filtration system, including pre-filters and particulate matter, shall be used when appropriate. Air supplies to production areas. These are the few images onto that. And equipments. So there should be a conveyor and bed should be used always. Sterilization of equipment should be carried out. Maintenance and repairs from outside the clean area should be done. All if required, if taken apart. Again, it should be re-sterilized before use. So if at all maintenance and repairs are required, okay, clean instruments and tools should be used. And planned maintenance, validation and monitoring. Okay, when the sterilization water treatment systems that is there. Then sanitation. In this case, sanitation, always there should be a frequent thorough cleaning of areas very much essential, and regular monitoring to the any strains, resistant strains of microorganisms, or even chemical disinfection should be carried out periodically, and monitoring of disinfectants and detergents. Then dilutions. Dilution clean containers are stored for different periods of time, sterilized before use when used in ADRB. Yes, monitoring of areas, personal surface after physical operations. There should be always a frequent monitoring should be there in the areas where aseptic operations have been carried out. Okay, settle plates, volumetric air samples, surface, straps, contact plates, and methods not contaminate the area. Microbial levels in surfaces may be determined by the use of settle plates, even air samplers, surface sampling, and filtering finger dabs. Okay, is there persons? There should be a minimum number of personnel in clean areas, especially during very minimum number. And inspections and controls outside should be done. Training to all, including cleaning and maintenance staff regarding okay manufacturing and even hygiene, even microbiology. They have to train all the persons who are personals who are having the uh, who are sorry working in that particular area, including cleaning and maintenance, hygiene, microbiology, high standards of hygiene and cleanliness, periodic health checkups, no shedding of particles, no introduction of microbiological hazards, and no outdoor clothing not wear. And changing and washing procedures, they have to follow the changing and washing procedures, and they should not wear any jewelry or cosmetics or watches. And always they should move gently or steadily. Avoid talking unless absolutely necessary. Talking, chatting, not allowed. And then do not touch other operators and keep garments fully fastened up, not unfasten or loosen them. Always garments close. Unless there is a special hazard involved, do not pick up proper items. And then the persons who are working the outdoor clothing not in change rooms leading to grade B and C rooms. Change at every working session or once a day. Report your data. Change gloves and masks at every working session. Don't use the same gloves and masks. Disinfect gloves during operations. Be done, and washing of garments. Separate laundry facilities should be there, and there should not be no damage. And according to related, this is there. The manufacturing operations. Then manufacturing operation, there are two distinct approaches for making a sterile product. Important, two distinct approaches for manufacturing of sterile product. What is that? One is terminal sterilization and another one is the preparation. What is this terminal sterilization? Terminal sterilization is nothing but filling and sealing the product into its final content. And then it should be sterilized. Okay. Then aseptic preparations. Sterilizing a product at some earlier stage itself before it is filled or packed. And then carrying out further and filling into sterile containers using aseptic techniques, taking aseptic small niche. The European Community GMP guidelines refers to grade A, B, C, and D for the manufacture of. Look into that. Grade A, B, C, and D. What is this grade A? Local zone or high risk operations, example filling, aseptic connections. Usually UDF systems are used. And grade B, grade B, background environment to grade A in case of operations and filling is required. Grade C and grade A clean areas for less critical. The maximum number of particles per cube equal to or greater than the tabulated size. Grades, different grades are being given at rest, how much it should be, and operation, how it should be, A, B, C, D. 0.5 micrometers, 1520 in A, 20 at rest, operation same. To reach grade B, C, and D, the number of air changes should be appropriate to the size of the area, number of personnel, equipment. Minimum of 20 air changes per hour should be carried out. Cleanup time should be maintained at about 15 to 20 minutes. Maintenance of good airflow pattern area, that is HEPA, third air should be thing. So in this processing, precautions to minimize contamination, take most care, precautions to minimize contamination taken during all processing stages, including the stages before sterilization. The care should also be taken that any validation not compromise the processes. And even starting materials, the microbial contamination should be minimum, very much minimal. And whatever the containers and materials to be used are liable to generate fibers and should be minimized in all the areas. And appropriate measures should be taken in order to minimize the particulate contamination of the final or end product. Containers and equipment, even components, should be handled after the final cleaning process. Okay, such a way that they are not recontaminated. Then sterilization, the important step. So in this sterilization, control of sterilization process. How to do that? A properly validated sterilization process must be applied. Okay, effective sterilization. All of the material should be subjected to the treatment whatever you are using. Biological indicator should be used. Additional methods of monitoring should be adopted. Autoclave tapes are used. Risk of contamination should be known. Then methods of sterilization. What are the different methods of sterilization? I'll already studied in the degree level, but in the industry, there is my small variation. Methods of sterilization may be either moist or dry heat, even irradiation, managing radiation, and even sterilizing by gaseous agents like clean oxide, and can also go with filtration with subsequent aseptic filling. Whenever possible, terminal sterilization by heat in their final contamination made uh, choice. The choice. Okay, terminal sterilization. It should be either by moist heat or dry heat or radiation or by gases and fumigants. Aseptic preparations. Sterilization by filtration. Steam sterilization. Steam sterilization. Uh, it is important to ensure that the steam used be of suitable quality and does not contain any additives or other substances cause the chemical contamination of the product or the material or equipment being sterilized. So, in steam sterilization, how to take the care and ensure, okay, regarding the what steam is used, whether it is not containing any additives or things, otherwise it causes chemical contamination in the product. Both the temperature and pressure should be used to monitor the process, and then system and cycle fault should be registered and observed by the editor. Reading from an independent temperature indicator will be routinely checked. That is the independent temperature against the chart recorder during the installation period. And items to be sterilized other than the products in scaled containers should be wrapped in a material allows the removal of air and penetration of the skin, and but that prevents recontamination after. Then sterilization by dry heat. Sterilization by dry heat for non-aqueous liquids or even for the dry powders. Then air circulation in the chamber is maintained. Positive pressure should be maintained to prevent the entry of non-sterile air. Then HEPA filters. HEPA filtered air is supplied and removing the pyrogens or challenge tests by using endotoxin should be used as a evaluation. Some of the sterilization times has been given for different types of the sterilization. That is 170 degrees centigrade for 60 minutes dry heat, 160 degrees centigrade 120 minutes dry heat, 149 degrees centigrade 150 minutes dry heat, 141 degrees centigrade 180 minutes dry heat, then 121 degrees centigrade 12 hours dry heat, 21 degrees centigrade 15 minutes moist heat. Don't start the clock until entire item is up to temperature. Example, large volumes fluids. Okay. Then radiation, sterilization by radiation. Using moist heat, dry heat, sterilization by the radiation. So the suitable for heat sensitivity. So what kind of materials can be sterilized by radiation? They are because they are heat sensitive materials and products can be sterilized by and confirm suitability of method for material ultraviolet radiation contracting service. Ensure validation status, responsibilities, measurement of dose during procedure, dosimeters independent of dose rate, quantity measurements, number, position, calibration time limit, biological indicators only as additional control, radiation sensitive color discs are used, then information forms, the part of the batch should be recorded, then validation to cover effects of variation in density of packages, and handling procedures to prevent the misidentification of irradiated and non-irradiated materials. Sometimes we forget which one is it is undergone for sterilization under radiation. Each package to have a radiation sensitive indicator in every packet. Total radiation dose administered within a predetermined period of time. Then that's about the radiation, sterilization by radiation. Let us see about the sterilization by gases and fumigants. So in this case, what type of products can be sterilized by gases? Only when no other method is suitable. Such cases, sterilization by gases and fumigants. Example, ethylene oxide, hydrogen peroxide vapors, validation. Prove that gas has no damaging effect on the product. During validation, we should ensure that the gas has no damaging effect on the product which is sterilized. And what is the time and conditions for degassing? Then direct contact with the microbial cells essential. Nature and quantity of packaging material used. Humidity and temperature equilibrium. Monitoring of each cycle with biological indicators. That is the time, pressure, temperature, humidity, gas concentration. Okay, that's about the sterilization by gases and the then sterilization can be done by even by filtration. So then through a sterile filter, 0.2 micrometers or even less into previously sterilized containers to remove what bacteria and also molds. But not all viruses or microorganisms are removed in this. Then consider complementing some degree of heat treatment. Then double filter layer or second filtration is advisable just before product or no fiber shedding or no filter integrity testing immediately after use. So and then even before use if possible. And the validations should include what is the time taken to filter in known volume, pressure difference. And significant differences to be noted and investigated, recorded in batch records, integrity of gas and air vent filters checked of use, other filters at appropriate intervals. Same filter should not be used for more than one working day unless it is validated, and filters which should not interact with the product. That means, example for removing the ingredients and releasing the substances in the product. Those things are there, challenging areas. Then, after sterilization, what should be done? There is a need to avoid recontamination of a sterilized product or material, the mix-up of sterilized with non-sterilized. Definitely, there is chances sterilization and keeping ready. Always we have to avoid the recontamination of the sterilized product or even the material. So they include examination of the particles, sterility testing, leak detection testing, virusin testing. Important areas, quality control. The sample should be taken for sterility testing. Should be representative of whole batch in the whole. From parts of the batch, mostly they are at risk. Aseptic filling, that is at beginning and end of the batch filling, and heat sterilized coolest part of the load. Sterility test procedure is followed. Pharmacopoeia validated for each product, and even endotoxin testing for injectable products, for injections, intermediate and finished products. Batch processing records, uh, sterility testing records, environmental records should also be. Then let us look into the finishing of the products. Containers closed by means of validated methods, samples checked for integrity, then maintenance of the vacuum, then parental products inspected visually. In visual inspection under suitable and controlled conditions, illumination and background, eyesight checks of operators, checking of the eyesight, allowed frequent breaks, other methods. Other methods, they should be validated and equipment performance should be checked, intervals, regular intervals, recorded. Those are the few areas for these oil products. So these are the few references. Thank you.